Hello?
Hello,
Hello, is that Kevin?
speaking.
Hello, this is Lisa Hafey from Essentially Pop, and this is our interview. Yes, thank you.
Very good. Can I just move to another place
Please do.
where I can hear you better? Hang on a
So,
second. Reception's never that brilliant here.
sorry.
Bear with me. Hang on a second.
Tighten the cord between the tin cans.
Say again?
Tighten the cord between the tin cans.
It's not quite that bad, but it gets like that sometimes. Hang on, bear with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I've got a really complex system here going where I am recording you on my mobile phone while talking to the hands-free on my landline. So hopefully,
It's so tech.
I know. It's seriously like almost as tech as what you guys were like in the old days of Strawberry. But yeah, so hopefully this will work. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for agreeing to this. Anyway, I got in trouble from Billy at Glass Onion for going behind his back. He said, "Please don't ever do that again." Like, yeah, because I said, "Oh, I've talked to Kevin on LinkedIn," and he's like, "Well, no." He came back to me and said, "Oh, Kevin said blah blah blah. Don't ever do that again." I'm like, "Okay, fine, all right." But
It's very protective.
oh yeah, well, see, I'd done the same thing with Nick Turner from Hawkwind, because
Right.
he and I are connected on LinkedIn as well, and Nick was fine, and Billy didn't seem to have quite the same problem with that. But I don't know. Anyway, so I've managed to get through about half of your book, but so I will only ask as much as I can. You know,
Right.
I don't know, because it's such a good read, but it's bloody brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm laughing all the way through it. Probably not meant to laugh all the way through, but
Well, hang on a sec. I've got a puppy snapping at me. Hang on a sec. We've recently got a new puppy.
Yeah.
You know what that's like.
Yeah.
No, well, you are. I mean, I wrote it. I tried to make it funny because I do treat life as an absurdity. So
Yeah.
if you can see me rolling my eyes when you read it, then you're probably in the right space.
You're brilliant. It's really cool. I was going to say, yeah, I love your writing style. I love how, like, what's the word, self-deprecating it is. You know, like you really don't take yourself seriously. But have you always been that way, though?
I think so. Yeah, like I say in the book, I take what I do seriously. But if the people that I know who take themselves too seriously, I mean, they set themselves up for a fall, really.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just how I am. I can't be objective about myself.
Yeah.
So I've just got to just let things happen. So I can never sort of say, wow, well, it's a really great piece of art that I've done.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know whether it's good or bad. I just do stuff. So it's kind of up to other people. And if that's where you're coming from, you can't take yourself too seriously.
No.
Because someone's going to puncture that bubble at some point.
You don't think you suffer from like imposter syndrome, do you?
The imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Do you know what that is?
You mean like someone will find me out?
Yeah, basically. You know, like
yeah, I buy into that totally.
Yeah.
They'll actually say every single thing you've done is absolute shite.
Yeah. It's like the fraud police.
And it's all been a horrible dream.
Yeah. Yeah, so you feel like that sometimes, like, what the hell? How on earth have I got into this? Is this actually someone's, crazy creation, and somehow or other I'm the star of their show?
It's sort of a yes and no. I'm actually quite proud of some of the things I've done, but not to the extent that I'm going to be kind of boasting about them.
Yeah.
I think some of the things I've done are quite good.
Yeah.
Because I aim to make them great.
Yeah.
I usually hit quite good. If I aim for quite good, they'll probably be crap. But,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you aim high and get somewhere interesting.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's impossible to critique your own work in any way.
So is, yeah.
What you do is put it out there and hope people will find something in it.
Yeah. I mean, I went to art school myself. I never finished because I was too busy doing other things.
Oh, I did, but I didn't want to.
Yeah. I think art school's a really good place to discover other stuff to do. You know,
Absolutely. I can't remember anything that I learned
yeah,
on any of my courses. And
yeah,
I recall, I actually didn't mention it in the book, but I recall being at art college studying graphic design for 3 years, and I seem to remember one tutor asking me at one point,
yeah.
hovering over me very seriously, and then saying, "What pencil are you using for drawing that?
Okay.
Is it a 2B or an HB?" And I can't remember anybody else asking me anything else.
Yeah.
Exactly, it didn't have a huge amount of depth in the teaching field, I don't think.
No, that's and it's obviously a really crucial, thing, like what sort of pencil you're using, because like you were making the art, you didn't have to actually. Well, yeah. I mean, what does it matter? What does it really matter? I mean, I found when I was at art school, our lecturers were all working on their own exhibitions, and they couldn't be asked anything about us.
What
So
were you studying?
I was studying visual art. Oh, where was I studying, or what was I studying? It was in Australia. So I was studying a Bachelor of Arts, Visual Arts, and I was doing painting and photography. And
Right.
photography I loved. Painting, I liked doing it, but I couldn't do the way they wanted it to be done. And I'm like, it actually killed my creativity for like 20 years. So really did. I didn't pick up a pencil for like for 20 years. Got out of the whole industry and just went into the civil service for a bit. But anyway, that's not about you. That's about me. So, but anyway, I was reading through your book, and I know it was Lol's thing. It was an audible videosophy. Audible video.
Videosophy.
That was the title of a book he carried around or something, and you wrote stuff in it and whatever.
Yeah, I remember. It was a horrible, smelly, sort of green plastic book, and every thought that we concocted got stuck in this book. But I think that the phrase audible videosophy applied to the notion, essentially, that if you played any piece of music against any bit of film, it kind of worked.
That's right. So what I was going to say was, do you think, like, would you consider yourself in any way to be synesthetic? Like, can you see, like, well, no, can you hear a piece of music and
colours? Hear colours.
Hear colours, smell, sounds, all that sort of stuff. Do you feel in any way that you have that sort of ability, or you're just an artist, really?
Kind of, but I don't. It's not quite that definable.
Yeah.
Or I can. How do I describe what I do? I suppose it's more about. I suppose it's like seeing into the future.
Yeah.
Like that, definitely. If I start a project off, regardless of what it is, if it's a song or a lyric or a little film or whatever, I have a vague idea in the back of my mind that I can never quite grasp.
Yeah.
But I know the kind of thing at a certain point that this should be.
Yeah.
And there's always a key point that a trigger, if you like, that kind of tells you that.
Yeah.
But you still can't really see it properly.
Yeah.
You know when it's not there yet.
Yeah.
You keep pushing until that comes into focus 100%. So I can kind of see and feel things, but not quite in the way you're describing, not in the classical way.
Is it something you've always felt like that's? It's like when you were playing bass or the guitar that you were first given, but you saw the drums and you're like, oh, that's it. Instinctively, you knew. So it's always something you've always had that sort of gift, really, to know what the completed thing is going to be.
Moment, yes. Before that moment, no, not remotely. Because I was doing all the wrong things. Like I said, I was playing bass, I was fucking useless. And I was playing guitar, I was even more useless. It was only when I sat down behind a kit that something clicked into place.
Yeah.
And that process kind of began there, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's very, very cool. I mean, power to you, because I haven't got rhythm. I mean, I can dance, but I can't coordinate my legs and my hands all in one go. But yeah.
I think people get the wrong idea. They say, "Oh, God, play drums. It's like you're doing 4 things."
Yeah.
But you're not. You're essentially doing 4 parts of the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's a subtle difference, but there's a difference nevertheless.
You're singing at the same time.
Yeah. Now I don't know how I do that. That is really not possible. But yeah, you can do that.
I mean, how many singing drummers are there? There's you. There's Phil Collins. There's Karen Carpenter. Who else?
Well, she's not exactly.
No, she's not around anymore. But have been.
Not many. There was a guy called Dave Clark.
Oh yeah, Dave Clark 5. Yeah.
There was a Dave Clark 5, but I wouldn't call his drumming particularly challenging.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, that I guess is a kind of facility that some people have. They can separate the component parts of music and do more than one thing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was reading up about drum kits a while ago.
Yeah.
Drum kits didn't really exist for a while. Everybody played a different kind of drum.
Okay.
Gradually, they thought, well, why don't we stick them all together?
Yes.
And then, you'd have more than one that you can hit. That took a while.
So they had like a whole stack of drummers behind different. Oh, I suppose that's like in an orchestra. You've got your.
Yeah, you'd have a guy playing a drum the size of a tom-tom, and then maybe you'd have another guy playing a bigger one that was the size of a bass drum. And but they were all playing one drum. Yeah. Opposed to one person playing 4. And so the notion of a drum kit was sort of an evolution of the language of drumming. And
for which you're eternally grateful. Otherwise, you'd be.
I'm eternally grateful.
Otherwise, you'd be stuck with, I don't know, cowbell or something.
I'd be the guy who played cowbell or something.
Now,
very efficiently, I would imagine.
I'd imagine you would be. Now, that's another thing I was going to say. It's further down in my list of questions, but perfectionism. You strike me as, well, being a bit of a perfectionist. Would that be correct? You've got. Yes.
Yeah, well, I try and be, but only because I know I'm not going to be. It's what I said before.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
If I aim for high, I'm going to get good.
Yeah.
It's essentially that. I don't think I've ever done anything that I'm 100% happy with, but I know the standard's pretty good.
If someone else is happy with it, then it's got to be okay, hasn't it?
Well, as long as it's not just one person.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If other people are happy with it, then then that's good.
It's like, oh, hang on, that actually worked. That's good. That's a very good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you kind of know after a bit.
Yeah.
Like any discipline anybody works in.
Yeah.
Whether you're an architect or a doctor or whether you're a writer or whatever, you develop certain intuitive skills in that area, so you kind of know what everybody else is doing, and you can kind of stack it up against it and say, well, that's pretty good.
That's cool.
Or it's actually really bad, so let's do something else instead.
Yeah.
There's no protection against doing something bad.
No, there isn't. No.
Wow.
What?
Why the smallest thing was the loudest?
What's your puppy's name?
Puppy's name is Daphne.
Daphne. Oh. So what sort of dog is she then?
Oh, she's a cross between a Westie and a Pomeranian.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So she's basically.
So she's a pestie.
Yes. So sort of a fluffy yappy thing.
Yeah, very fluffy. She's only been with us for about 3 weeks or so.
Oh.
That's pretty gorgeous. And our other dog who's been with us for longer.
Yeah.
It's just going through the process of getting used to her settling in period. But it's so funny to see them play together.
Oh. What's your other dog's name?
My other dog's name is the Rogue.
The Vogue.
The Rogue.
Oh, the Rogue. Okay. And what sort of dog is the Rogue?
Yeah. Oh, hang on. The other one's actually pulling my shoelaces. Oh. Anyway, I don't want to talk about my dog.
No, don't talk about your dog. I was going to say, now my next question is, why doesn't 10cc get the credit they deserve? I love 10cc. Everyone knows a 10cc song. And, even if they don't know, they know one.
Well, they kind of are a little bit more. Things are changing.
Yeah, I think so.
I think initially because, and I say it in the book, that very situation annoyed the hell out of me for a while.
Yeah.
It's because we didn't have a memorable profile, I guess. we didn't have like a brand image.
Yeah.
We were just four kind of ordinary guys from Manchester who made interesting noises for bits. But you can't kind of remember, we weren't David Bowie, we weren't punk.
No.
There was nothing you could hang a visual thread on. So, and that was so important. It's always been important.
Yeah.
But we didn't have it.
Well, I can tell you that growing up in Australia, we knew 10cc. You guys were popular over there. You're on the radio a lot. And like, I'm 46. So basically my childhood my childhood was 10cc. My teens were Godley and Creme. Or is it Cream or Creme? I don't know. I've seen various today.
It's Cream, but I think he would prefer Creme.
Yeah, because he's got that accent, hasn't he, on it?
Yeah. French thing going.
Yes. Okay, so Godley and Creme. And you so I know a lot of your stuff, and I've got an 18-year-old daughter, and I was saying, come on, you know this song, you know this one, and she's like, oh, okay. So she knows I'm Not in Love, of course. Everyone knows that one.
Everybody knows that one.
She knows but the thing, I was listening to as much as I could from the 10cc back catalogue from when you were in it, and I knew I'm Mandy Fly Me, and I thought, gee, how do I even know that one? Because I didn't think that was actually one that had permeated my life, as a child, but obviously it had. So you must have got a lot of airplay in Australia, anyway.
Well, yeah, I one place I've never been. I left the band before we went to Australia, so I've never been there.
Not very. Where's this foresight of yours? You see, you didn't see that one, did you? It's like, band's going to go to Australia. I've got to stick it out until they go there. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, but I like that. I like that John Lydon referenced 10cc in his autobiography as well.
I was so surprised to read that. I enjoyed his book. And I enjoyed the guy, but I thought, and I was kind of aware that the way the media paints everything is so black and white.
Yeah.
So there are undercurrents and grey areas, and that was a grey area too far for me. The notion that John Lydon actually liked something that we did, it's like, hang on a minute. But of course, it's kind of in the grey area between reality and image.
Yeah.
And the media do like their image stuff.
Yes.
They do create situations, and it makes the world more entertaining to a degree. But things do get lost in there, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do. All right. Here's where I flick over the page. Okay. One Night in Paris.
Yeah.
Do you think it really was the inspiration for Bohemian Rhapsody?
No idea. Some people say it was.
I think it is. Just listening to it.
Yeah.
You can see Queen really just sort of ripped you guys off a lot.
It didn't quite have the balls of One Night in Paris, though, because
halfway
through it thought, oh shit, we've got to put a rock and roll guitar.
Exactly. That was really selling out, wasn't it? Whereas One Night in Paris.
It worked. Fuck. I mean, people remember Bohemian Rhapsody far more than they do One Night in Paris. I listened to One Night in Paris recently.
Yeah.
Pretty out there musically.
Really is.
Some weird things going on there that I couldn't really remember until I listened again. And I was also told recently that it was twice as long as it actually is. I can't remember it being so. Apparently we went away on holiday together and wrote this thing while we were away.
Yeah.
And came back. Apparently the original intention was to fill one side of an album with it.
Yeah.
I can't remember that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What on earth happened on that holiday to make you write that song?
Who the hell knows where this stuff comes from? But all I know is that it's the trigger again. I just remember we hired a villa in south of France, and we had a piano in there.
Yeah.
You spend a few days tickling around and nothing happens, and then something happens, Lol bangs these chords, and I start going, one night in Paris. And hang on, what you just sang fits exactly with what I just played, and suddenly you have something.
Yeah,
you have a starting point that is tangible.
That's
I
brilliant.
suppose that's, I don't know, people write songs in different ways, but there is always a moment where something comes together, and it's usually purely because you've been messing around in some way, shape, or form, and then something, if you're lucky,
it works.
Something happens, you can go days, weeks, months without anything, which is kind of dispiriting. But when you actually hit a moment like that, which it doesn't happen that often, but when you hit that moment, you hang on to it and you have to build around it.
That's right.
I think we were particularly pleased with a song called Somewhere in Hollywood from the Sheet Music album, which was a little bit more expansive than your usual pop song.
Yeah.
So I guess in our heads we were trying to write something that was a bit longer and a bit more complex, whatever.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be that. The only thing I don't like about it, listening to it now, is the old singing in very false French accent.
I thought that was quite cool.
Really.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought it was right for them, but now I think if you actually did it without that, it would probably stand up anyway.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think it adds to the whole, it's got this whole sort of theatrical feel about it, and I think the faux French kind of, well, it does it for me anyway.
It came from, I mean, the idea of doing it, and it came from a film called American in Paris.
Oh, yes, yep.
Remember that? With Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
Choreographing Gershwin's piece.
Yep.
And it was like just that connected with us so much.
Yeah.
I guess that was what started us down that French road.
Yes. It works well. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. No, just went silent. I thought, oh god, my phone's run out of battery or something.
Oh no, you're cool.
Oh, cool. Now that brings my next thing. Like you and Lol had this really, really good working relationship. You know, like two halves of the one brain, all that sort of stuff. And then you just like you started off doing your independent things, fashion things, and whatever. And do you think, like, you know, you talk about Bill Clark at art school.
College,
yeah. Do you think that when you broke with Lol, that maybe that was just an extension of what Bill Clark had been trying to get you guys to do all those days? You know, push the boundaries, stretch you, see what you could do.
Maybe. I think what we learned from Bill was always in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't kind of refer to it, but that thought of always pushing, always looking, always searching for something.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that. I don't think. I think it was simply that what we were doing was becoming predictable.
Yeah.
And we'd kind of we'd reached the end of a particular road. It's like we'd done this, we'd done the song. The only thing we haven't done is a movie.
Yeah.
We almost did a movie together. But the thought of actually directing with someone else, that was becoming a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
And it was like, so it wasn't like it was a big deal, but it was kind of like time. It was timely.
Yep.
You've been working with someone for 27 years. You know, you've wrung every last drop of juice out of it.
Yeah.
So, it was just time to move on. It was scary, It was weird, but as I say in the book, but it was really a matter of finding my own confidence.
Yeah.
As opposed to leaning on someone else, which came pretty quickly. I was lucky that we had a reputation, so people did keep coming.
Yeah.
So I was able to show off a bit what I could do on my own. Just find a slightly different way of being.
Yeah. Oh, it's not a bad thing.
It's a good thing.
You're still in touch. You still hang out, do you?
Really? I mean, we lead completely different lives. I live in Ireland.
Yeah.
He lives. I don't even know where he lives. I assume he lives in England. But he lived in LA for a while.
Yeah.
I speak to Graham quite often, as you know, because we did things for a while together.
Yeah.
But you know what groups are like.
Yeah.
It's groups. We didn't fall out in the traditional sense. We just got bored with each other. So
that's fair enough.
It's like there's no need to connect.
Yeah.
There's no 10cc reunion tour on the cars.
No.
We've done that, been there.
That'd be terrible anyway. I mean, it's just such a sellout. It's kind of like, come on, we need the cash. Yeah, art for art's sake. Yeah, just dropping in a song title there. Yeah, but you say that like you
This,
describe.
by the way, is Daphne trying to dig her way out of a nest. Daphne,
Oh,
what are you doing, sweetheart? She's lying there on her back, just thrashing away at the sides of a nest.
oh,
Can you hear okay?
yeah, I'm fine. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I've locked all my children away, and I've said don't make any noise under penalty of death.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Doodle-doodle. I want a Gizmotron.
You want a Gizmotron?
I know.
They're bringing them out again.
I know. I saw. It's just like that. Looks just like the best thing ever, and looks like a lot of fun. And I really, really don't think that it was a case of you guys missing the cues of the prevailing fashion and stuff. And I think you're actually ahead of your times. And the Gizmotron, that's just amazing. Like it.
Well, I think the problem with it was that the timing was bad.
Yeah.
But the other thing was that the company that made them didn't really put as much money and as much effort as they could have done into the research and development. So what they put out on the market didn't really stack up.
No.
It was one of those things where the idea is good,
Yeah.
but the actual working device actually didn't really fit. It was like, it was okay, but the timing was poor because around about that time, sort of cheap polyphonic synths were coming on the market.
Yeah.
It was far more reliable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good idea. It got used in some interesting places, but it's interesting that this group of people are refurbishing it and using modern technology and better materials to actually get more out of the thing.
Do you get some sort of...
excited about it. I've been talking to them. And I think they're launching at the NAMM show.
Oh, brilliant.
Whenever that is, in Nashville, probably.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens.
Do you think, like, wouldn't it be cool if they, like, invited you to come and sort of speak about it?
Well, sort of totter on crutches and about what happened 58 years ago.
Yes. Hi, I'm Kevin. And
I am the old guy who invented
about yes.
No, whatever. I'd just be interested to see how reliable the thing is, because it was very unreliable. It was so prone to temperature change and humidity and God knows what else. That the idea for it to sound like an orchestra was totally volatile.
Oh, shame! Such a shame. Anyway, it looked good. The pictures look good.
Yeah, but it's a great story.
Yes, and I like the bands that used it. I was very impressed that someone in the church used that as well. I like the church.
Yeah, a number of interesting people have used it in different ways. So
yeah,
they obviously managed to get a lot out of it. I mean, we spent like 18 months trying to get something out of it.
Yeah.
A little excessive, perhaps.
But excess, that's it's that whole perfection thing, but it's not really perfection. What was I going to say? So, yeah, I do like you're a polymath. Then are you? Like you've got to have you want to do everything. You're able to do everything. Like,
well, not everything. Not everything, which I'm able to do luckily. You see, I view it as being the same thing. It just comes out of different taps.
Yeah.
Turn this tap on and the same stuff comes out, but it's music there, and I turn another tap on and now it's video, so forth. It's the same stuff though. You're
a creative. Yeah. I get that. It's it's like I can write and I can sing and I can whatever. I can draw. I can draw damn good. Draw damn well.
Well, I
do photography.
I'm a fan of all the things.
Yeah.
All mediums I work in, so I've got this thought in my head somewhere that maybe I can do something that works here.
Yeah.
And then I can do something that works there. I'm not scared by it.
No.
I suppose I was at the beginning. Can I actually? But it's funny when you start writing music for the first time, you start recording.
Yeah.
we did when we were like in our early 20s, you naturally gravitate to sounding like the people you admire.
That's right. Yeah.
So, you know, you're usually a bit like the Beatles, and it's a bit like this and that. But
yeah,
if you're lucky, that evaporates after a while, and somehow the real you comes through.
yeah, you can find your own.
And that did happen. It happens to many people.
It's very cool.
And it's great that that happens. The trick is to avoid understanding what that is.
Yeah.
And not and say, oh, right, well, I'm about this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Because once you know that, then you then have to escape that and start all
That's
over.
right. It's about not putting yourself in a box, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, that's why I do lots of different things, I suppose. I like to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe it's from when you're a kid. Maybe you crave attention or something. I have no idea why artists do what they do, but they are driven to a degree.
Yeah.
Because they can't do anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't help themselves.
There's something inside, isn't there, that says, look, you know, I want to create. I want to be able to. Oh, couldn't we do it this way? Or that would be really good if. Or
Yeah, but you don't really know the answer.
no.
You kind of, the whole thing is an exploratory process, but you're using your intuition all the time as to whether that is going to work, and you come, you know, in the journey you come across some good results and some bad results.
Yeah.
But I kind of describe what I do as sort of inspired ignorance, because I tend to do my best work when I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's me.
I think that's why we were good at making music video, because we didn't know what the rules were.
Yes, that's how I am with Essentially Pop. We have no idea what we're doing, so we just do it. And
you learn by doing it. And what happens is you make your own rules up, and therefore you conjure something a little bit different from the ether, as opposed to what everybody else is doing, which can be valuable.
Yeah. Well, I was now you mentioned music videos, and as I said before, you guys made all the music videos of my teenage years, basically. I was going through it today thinking, oh my God, Girls on Film. Oh my God, the Frankie Goes to Hollywood ones. Rocket. Oh, the sweetest thing. The sweetest thing is my favourite video of all time.
Oh, really?
Yes. I just love it.
I was reading the story about that.
It's so good. Because I spent a lot of time in Dublin, and when I watched it back then, I had no clue, because I was this little girl in Australia, well, teenager in Australia. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's Fitzwilliam Street, because I know where it is. And I'm like, oh, Boyzone. I had no idea who Boyzone were, because they didn't make it in Australia. But now I can go, put all those things together.
Yeah, that was a great shoot.
That was absolutely brilliant. I've just read about it. Like that's the part I'm up to in your book. How that was made, and it's just phenomenal. And I love the idea of you two throwing a whole bunch of, pie in the sky ideas into this, just because they can, just to,
Well, yeah, that's what. But it was, it's yes, exactly, because they can. But
yeah,
I think they were taking the piss a little.
Totally, yeah.
But it was very funny.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we actually got something that we could do. But the elephant was like that was the moment.
Because it's only on for like a couple of seconds, isn't it? Just sort of zooms in and zooms out again. It's like all that fuss to get a flippin' elephant, and
But, and the actual story, I said in the actual piece that the elephant wraps its trunk around a lamppost and refuses to move. That actually did happen.
Oh my goodness me!
It was like, we need to do another take. No, the elephant refuses. Not contractually, but that's what he did. He wrapped his trunk around. He's had enough. I'm not just walking up down the street anymore.
Oh.
I don't care how many buns you want from me. I'm out.
Poor elephant. Yeah. Well, but I love to. I loved the story of Rocket. How that came about. That's one of my faves as well. 'cause we didn't have MTV in Australia back in those days, so it was just on the
Right.
Saturday morning shows. But that leapt out at me back in the day, and it was pretty scary because I thought, what year did that come out? It was pretty early on, wasn't it? In the 80s sometime. 80s?
It was very, again, it was, what we did was kind of a product of the time and the product of the brief.
Yeah.
We need this to happen. We need to get a black guy on TV. What are we going to do?
Yeah. Literally had him on TV.
Fuck do you mean? And it was one of those magical things.
Yeah.
Just happened to see this TV show with this guy's work on it, and it was just waiting for us, really.
It's brilliant. Absolutely.
Out of the ether and applied it. That's all we did. All we did really was film somebody else's work and put it in a context.
Yeah.
But it reverberated through the medium, I think, and it was something no one had ever seen before. Which
it's fantastic.
The point.
Well, it was very much it had an effect on me growing up. It was quite good because back in those days, these were all this was all new, all this music video business. I mean, I know they'd had sort of.
Would you speak up a bit?
Sorry,
reception's not great.
Sorry. It was all new, this whole music video business. I know they'd had like clips for songs before, but this is groundbreaking stuff, wasn't it?
The only thing I've seen that since then that has had a similar effect on me that somebody else has done. I remember during the 80s, I would watch MTV every night before going to bed. I would flip through all the different channels.
Yep.
And one night, I flipped to a channel, and there was Christopher Walken sat in a hotel.
Ah, yes. Yep.
And I'm thinking, what the fuck is this?
Yep.
And that turned into Weapon of Choice, and I was just blown away.
That was so good. Because he's actually, no one ever thinks that Christopher Walken can dance like that. He's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And
I didn't know what the hell I was watching.
It's brilliant. It's completely, it doesn't make any sense that he's dancing to this song in this video clip, but it works. And it works really, really well.
When I switched to it, it wasn't the beginning, so I didn't see the intro or anything. It was like, for me, it was like kind of the video version of Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. I was watching this thing and this walk with this music, and I think, I've switched on to showing a movie. What's going on? Just amazing. Just amazing.
It is amazing.
Stroke of genius, but then again, Spike Jones is.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it actually helped being artists and musicians to make music videos? Because I mean, a lot of people came out of commercials and advertising, whatever, and movies and things to go into music videos. But you guys came out of music itself, and you've got that art background. Do you think that was actually a helpful thing? Did it help with your ideas, because you, I don't know, came out of left field for a lot of things? I think that was a bit.
I think the thing that we brought, to the medium, was the feeling that, again, as I said earlier, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just trying stuff, and we did have an art background, a visual background.
Yeah.
That came into play, but I think that possibly the reason we were successful at it and sort of set some new standards was because we did come from a music background, and a lot of musicians felt more comfortable talking and dealing with us than they did with a lot of other directors, because at the beginning, in the early 80s maybe, a lot of directors working out of the UK came from documentaries, from television. Yeah. And this new medium called video, there was no precedent for it. Nobody really knew what they were doing. So documentary makers and TV people kind of looked down on it and didn't really have a connection with music. So they weren't, if you're a musician, they weren't the easiest people to talk to about things like, well, what I'm trying to say is this. What I'm seeing is that. But we knew about that. We were tuned into that because that's our background.
Yeah, because you'd been there.
We were a new kind of director,
Yeah.
essentially. We were directors who were learning along with the musicians what this new medium could do.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the music industry these days?
The music industry now,
Yeah.
it's changing.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I sometimes jump in the back of a cab.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, Godley Creme, fucking great, man. When you think about the state of music business today, it's all a pile of shit, isn't it? And I'm thinking, don't become your dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't say, yeah, it's all crap, it was much better in the day.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. People are still making music.
Well, that's right.
And it's going through different phases. It can be what you like, can be what you don't like.
Yeah.
But people are still making music, and they're making a lot more of it.
Sure are.
Maybe everybody is a little bit spoiled by the different ways they can access it.
Yeah.
But it's not stopped.
No way. No way.
People are still doing it, and there's some great stuff out there.
There's a damn lot of great stuff. Look, we're in the business of talking about stuff you don't hear on the radio, essentially, and there's the rise of the independent artist.
Yeah.
Massive. I can go, like, I'm in London, and I can go and listen to 2-3 bands or, guitarists or whatever, any night of the week, and they'll all be amazing, and they'll all have, honed their craft from whatever, and they'll all be really savvy. They'll all know they'll know the business back and forth, and, backwards and forwards, and they know what they're doing. They really know what they're doing. But they're not going to get heard on the radio. But they don't care because they
well, I don't know. It's kind of a strange industry at the moment. It's fractured.
Yeah. Yep.
It's fractured. But I think, just going back to something you asked earlier about 10cc not quite getting the acclaim that we would have liked. I think what's changed is that people who were considered for a while to be kind of not very cool or kind of a bit boring, now that the internet exists, you get people who are interested in music who can become music archaeologists, and they can dig deep, find interesting information and explore for themselves.
Oh yes.
And immerse themselves in what people did.
Yeah.
So I think that is kind of flattening out that whole elitist thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you're not cool, man.
Yeah.
It's like that seems to be disappearing because what wasn't cool yesterday is now seminal today.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of, it's just the way things are.
Yeah.
I guess my contribution to the way things are at the moment musically is the whole World Band project.
Yeah. Yes, tell me about that.
The whole World Band project is probably chapter 26, so you won't have got there yet.
No, I think I'm about up to 17 or something.
Whole World Band is an app that I invented a few years ago that is now available for iOS and now for web. It's a music collaboration app, but it's centered more around video than it is about audio.
Yeah.
So you can play along and add music to different artists on the app. So we've got people like Ronnie Wood and Stuart Copeland and Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters and God knows who else.
Yeah.
That have put a track down, usually quite simple, and you can play with them.
Wow, that's brilliant.
So you should check it out. It's called Whole World Band.
Yep. Whole World Band. Yep.
So I love technology. I think technology is amazing. I think technology makes a few wrong turns here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The potential of technology is extraordinary.
Yep.
I sometimes say, technology is the new Beatles.
Oh, it sure is. Yes. Hopefully, it's longer lasting than the Beatles. I mean, I keep pointing out to bands that I interviewed, they were only together for 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is the new Beatles. It's groundbreaking. But it has the potential to sort of implode, doesn't it? Like turn in on itself and just go. Ooh.
Yeah. The danger is that it keeps repeating itself.
Yeah.
that you get 15 different but very similar versions of streaming.
Yes, that's what. Yeah.
I think the great thing about technology is that it can be disruptive. It can change things.
Yeah.
And I suppose the thing that annoys me more than anything is that it always seems to be centred on doing things that are so facile. Why can't it change the world?
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to just giving us loads of different ways to listen to crap music.
Yeah. It's like be the change. Have some sort of impact on something rather than just let it impact on you.
It changes people's lives, and I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
But we kind of live in. I live in a very shallow space, I guess. The music space is pretty shallow, so
Yeah.
and there's so much going on in it. You don't know what the hell's going on from one day to the next. Something pops up new every day, which is exciting.
Well, yeah, it is exciting, and new directions. And I've listened to lots of different genres that I would never have even thought of or thought of listening to. Like trap and screamo metal. And
the danger is losing that sense that music is a rare commodity or a rare commodity.
Yeah.
It has become a commodity, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That is the one thing always on the tip of my tongue when I get the taxi driver. Hey man.
Yeah.
Music business is fucked. What do you think? I suppose it's that sense that maybe sometimes more is less.
Yeah.
As opposed to less is more.
Yeah.
Which is what I grew up with. But everything will go through phases. There's always a good and bad side of everything. So some great stuff will come out of it, and already has. So
So who do you listen to, and who's some?
Listen to?
Yeah, go on. Who do you listen to?
I listen to a huge amount of music, but the people I do enjoy, I enjoy listening to people like Tom Waits.
Yep.
I love Tom Waits.
Yeah.
I always put a Tom Waits record. I like people like Sinatra.
Yep.
I like people like Talking Heads that don't really exist anymore. I like classical music. I like all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
But because I'm doing music a lot,
yeah,
I don't actually bother.
Yeah.
I like watching a good movie.
Oh, that's a good thing.
I like watching a good movie or a great series like Breaking Bad or House of Cards or something like that. That really gets me.
Okay. So that's
over.
Okay. Well, one last question. And thank you so much, because we've been talking for nearly an hour, and this is going to take forever to change.
Let me get a plug in for something.
Yes, plug. Well, my question was, what question do you?
Apart from Whole World Band, which
go on.
I've just finished a project called Hog Fever.
Hog Fever.
Which is we call it an ear movie. Essentially, it is a movie without pictures.
Wow.
And in six parts, and it's complex audio. It's a film, essentially. It's a story about a middle-aged biker.
Yes.
Lives in England and he's trying to find himself. And it stars Terence Stamp.
Oh, excellent.
As a shrink.
Yep.
Who is giving advice to the main character all the way through.
Yeah.
So it's like a series of consultations that you go out from to hear this guy's story, and it was great fun to do.
Yeah.
I wrote, or I adapted it from the novel Hog Fever, which was written by Richard LaPlante.
Yep.
And I directed it and did a lot of the music and sound design for, but I'm also in it. I play about 5-6 parts in it.
Brilliant.
Which is something that I've never done before. So I'm acting now.
Goodness me. So there you go. There's another string to your ever-increasing bow.
Yes, I'm going to be very tired one day, aren't I? I need to have a bit of a kid.
I don't know. I talked to Nick Turner, and he's like a million.
Coming out very shortly.
Yeah.
By a distribution service called Blackstone Audio.
Blackstone Audio.
It should be available on various formats.
Is Spacecake going to be on anything more than just Apple?
Yes, hopefully it's going to be on Kindle.
Excellent. Because I've been plugging it away, and people are saying, it's not on Kindle yet.
Yeah, which is great, but you won't be able to access all the sexy bits.
No, I know.
But never mind. It's interesting. The one thing I did find in writing it towards the end was I was more and more excited about the writing process
Yeah.
than I was about all the tricky techie bits that you could go in and watch because
Yeah.
it was given from day one. I actually got into enjoying the process of writing a book.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's
If you get to the end, you'll see it, you'll feel it. I think that the writing improves with a bit of luck.
So do you find it's cathartic having got this book out of you?
Do I what?
Did you find it cathartic? You've got this book out of you, and
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, yes. I wouldn't say cathartic in a very serious way. It was
No.
kind of, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
So the challenge was it was kind of like, okay, what are people? They're not going to find me interesting, but maybe they'll find the work interesting.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the starting point.
Yeah.
The work outwards from what I'd done as opposed to who I am, I guess. And it kind of works. And also two other very important decisions. One was to write it as if it was a screenplay.
Yes. Yep.
Which was my wife's idea, which I think works really well. And the second one was to give myself an alter ego, KGB,
Yes.
so I could stop my
KGB.
worst excesses when they started to go out of control.
Yeah. See, I was reading and making notes as I went, and every time I'd write something down, you'd answer it like 3 pages on, or and I actually wrote on there about, and you've been doing you've been doing the same in this interview as well, because I said I like that it's written like a screenplay, and now you've gone and provided me with that answer.
It puts it in focus. It means, oh, okay, this is a story about this guy who happens to be me.
Yes, yeah. Well, it detaches you as well, doesn't it?
Well, I just found it really helpful, and then I could kind of reimagine situations and put words into people's mouths that were kind of what they said.
Yeah.
As opposed to desperately searching for the exact words, which isn't really the point.
Yeah. Well, that's a good screenplay as well. A good adaptation of the book that is, it's an adaptation of the book that is Kevin Godley's life.
Yeah, it's another. Spacecake is an adaptation of me.
And it works.
And it kind of, well, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kevin, it's been lovely chatting to you. Is there anything else you want to pop in? Because we're up to, I don't want to take up too much of your time. And
I can't think of anything specifically. I think we've kind of covered a lot of ground, really, haven't we?
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for thank you so much for agreeing to do this. And
my pleasure. A pleasurable interview. You know your stuff, so.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What's your favourite colour? Thank God.
Well, good. I like to do interesting interviews because basically, well, as I said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I do know I've read a lot of stuff. Yeah, and
it's all about enthusiasm in the end, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I know the questions that I'd like to be asked, and I wouldn't want to be asked crap old. Yeah, what's your favourite colour or what?
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Oh Hell No is a real good song. It's like a real empowering song, kind of low attitude. It's still really commercial,